हीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा राश्री हरे राधा राश्री हरे राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शन जय गौरांगी बैंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी बैंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र शत His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BBD founder Acharya, savior of the whole universe, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shata. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shraddhas Thakur ki jai. जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शरद गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासती गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन गिरिराज महाराज की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। कावेरी माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories and glories and glories and glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire. Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayatim Yatkripātamaham Vande Shri Gurudintarinam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Om Tat Sat. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We will continue our conversation on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter. Sorry, let me just open the verse for you. Canto 3, chapter 26. The chapter is titled as Fundamental Principles of the Material Nature, and the shloka number that we're going to discuss today is 20. Just share my screen. Just give me 1 minute. It is our shloka for today. Vishwamatmagatam yagnam kutasthana jagat ankura swatejas apibattivram atma pravasparam tamaha. Vishwamatmagatam yagnam Vishwamatmagatam yagnam kutasthita jagat ankura Swatejasa apibattivram atma praveshapam tama. Vishwamatma gatam yadnan kutasthana jagatankura swatejasa apibattivram atma praveshapanatama. Word-to-word translation. Vishwam, the universe. Atmagatam, contained within self. Vyanjan, manifesting. Kutastha, unchangeable. Jagadankura, the root of all cosmic manifestation. Swatejasa, by its own effulgence. Apibat, swallowed. Tivram, dense. Atma, praswapanam, which had covered the Mahatattva. Tama, darkness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thus, after manifesting variegatedness, the effulgent Mahatattva, which contains all universes within itself, which is the root of all cosmic manifestation, and which is not destroyed at the time of annihilation, swallows the darkness that covered the effulgence at the time of dissolution. Purport. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ever existing, all blissful, and full of knowledge, His different energies are also ever existing in the dormant stage. Thus, when the Mahatattva was created, it manifested the material ego and swallowed up the darkness which covered the cosmic manifestation at the time of dissolution. The idea can be further explained. A person at night remains inactive, covered by darkness of night. But when he is awakened in the morning, the covering of night or the forgetfulness of sleeping state disappears. Similarly, when Mahatattva appears after the night of dissolution, the effulgence is manifested to exhibit the variegatedness of the material world. Om Tat Sat. Hence the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 26, chapter titled The 26th chapter is titled The Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, and this is the conversation which is happening between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurudmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapatagamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Interesting chapter again from Srimad Bhagavatam, continuing the discussion between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni. And here Kapila Muni is giving the fundamentals or the principles of the material nature. And he is explaining very clearly as to how the material nature behaves and what one needs to do while he is in the material nature. So the translation is thus after manifesting the variegatedness, the effulgent Mahat Tattva, which contains all the universes within himself, which is the root of all cosmic manifestations and which is not destroyed at the time of annihilation, swallows the darkness that covered the effulgence at the time of the dissolution. So, for Vaishnavas, Nirvana or Brahmajyoti is absolutely undesirable. They do not want to go to the Brahmajyoti and get stuck there, because that is the form where you lose your identity. But a devotee never wants to lose his identity, and he doesn't want to merge into the Lord. He wants to be separate from the Lord, always serving the Lord. So for a Vaishnava, Nirvana is not at all something which is desirable. And living entities are pure, are actually in pure knowledge and bliss. As our nature, it is, our nature that we start identifying ourselves. That is where the problem comes, when we start identifying ourselves with the mind, body, and the ego. We are otherwise very, very pure beings, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One is not taken to the highest platform of bhakti. Satchidananda is a state, is achieved. One takes up to the highest form of bhakti. No Astanga Yoga, no other practice can take us there to that level of highest platform. It is only bhakti which is of the highest platform. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has actually combined the essence of all the four sampradayas, the Shiva Sampradaya, the Lakshmi Sampradaya, the Kumara Sampradaya, and the Brahma Sampradaya. We are all actually following the Brahma Sampradaya, and we called as Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 2 points each from all the sampradayas, the Shri Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, that's Shiva Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, and Kumara Sampradaya. In the Padma Puran, all this is stated that all of them, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picked up two points from each of the sampradayas and combined it in the Kali Yuga. And this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya gave this mercy because he wanted us to enjoy all the sampradayas. Well, when I mean sampradaya, enjoying sampradaya, it is following all the four sampradayas. And all Krishna consciousness movement is a bona fide movement because it has a combination of all the sampradayas. Here, different sampradayas are coming together to give shelter to the whole world. And this is also glorified by the great acharyas in different sampradayas. We see Krishna consciousness is actually glorified by all the acharyas, be it any of the sampradayas that they have been there. And as devotees, we are disgusted to, even think of being an impersonal realization. We want to be very, very personal. Our service to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is always one-to-one. With Krishna, it was always one-to-one. So with regard to, the impersonal realization that Bhaktivinoda Thakur once had this dream. And in his dream, he had a beautiful woman who was wearing white cloth. And, he was somewhere in Navadvip Dham. Sorry. And this lady was crying. The lady in the white cloth, a beautiful lady, was crying. And she was saying, I'm so unfortunate, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has delivered all the fallen souls. All the great sages have also left me and gone. All great sages like Markandeya and all of them have left me and gone. Though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as liberating any living entity, all the fallen souls have been liberated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But unfortunately, he has not liberated me. And everybody has gone for pure bhakti. And then Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur asked, who are you? So this lady says, I'm Sayuja Bhakti. And then, this was given saying that even Bhakti Vinod Thakur ran away from that, saying that we've got nothing to do with Sayuja Mukti. We don't have anything to do with merging with the Lord. We are all going only for bhakti, pure bhakti, which is where Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur classifies this, and he says, he has written this, it is actually noted down in one of his books, where he says, we've got nothing to do with the Sayuja Mukti. We don't want any merging with the Lord. We want to be independent and we want to serve the Lord. Even Sanatana Goswami talks about his eternal relationship. There was one very nice story that there was an eternal associate of the Lord. He was as a cowherd boy. And while he was going very slow, going back to Godhead, he's doing it very, very slowly. So he actually passes the Satya Loka, then he passes the Shiva Loka. And then as he starts going further, he starts merging with the Brahmajyoti. And then he calls out, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then suddenly he gets pulled out of the Brahmajyoti. And then, he goes back to Godhead. So we need to be very, very careful and be very fixed in our personal conception of Krishna. This merging with the Lord, the Brahmajyoti and all that should never ever be thought about. While we are going back to Godhead, we pass through all the other lokas, the Siddha Loka, the Naga Loka, the other planetary system, the higher planetary system, where in Siddha Loka there's mystic power which works. So kind of such things when we pass through and we get really attached to it, or start looking at it saying that, hey, looks like this is a nice place, Siddha Loka, where a lot of mystic power and all that is happening. It's a nice place. Maybe I should really look at it, and you'll get stuck. So it is important that one gets really fixed, and he is very, very careful in going back to Godhead. There's another story of Prithu Maharaj also. Prithu Maharaj, when he was asked, when he was going back, when the Pushpak Viman came, he and his wife were traveling. They passed through all the material planets. They passed through Indraloka, they passed through Tapaloka, etc. Here, there is a wonderful arrangement for material enjoyment and sense enjoyment. But Prithu Maharaj, because he was fixed at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he did not look here and there. He only transversed, he only straight traveled back to Godhead. Many times we see in this material world that people pay for the vacation, and they go 4 days of Europe tour, 5 days of Europe tour. They pay through their nose and then come back to the same place and start working like a donkey. So what is the use? We actually belong to that place. We are supposed to be enjoying eternally, but it is not material enjoyment or sense enjoyment. So one should really look at going back to Godhead permanently. In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, it says, "A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avardate Arjuna Mam Upaityate Kaunteya Punar Janmana Vidyate." So the translation for this is, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places are of misery. Now, why do we call it as a place of misery? Because there is repeated birth and death. Yeah. But one who attains my abode. So Krishna is confirming this in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, saying that once the one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So we are guaranteed, if we are focused And if we are transcending ourselves towards the higher planetary system, while we are passing through the higher planetary systems, but our focus is on Krishna Loka, or it is on the eternal abode of the Lord, then that person does not take birth again. This is confirmed by Krishna himself. So when one is going back to Godhead, he passes through so many other planets, as we described earlier. One needs to be very, very fixed in serving Krishna and going back home. The desire to serve him will take us back. Just the desire, one needs to really desire. This morning I was reading another very nice, quote, while it is regarding japa. It says, one, when he enters the vast arena, there's a huge vast arena. He needs to enter the vast arena of surrender and start with the first step. The first step is humility. Only a humble and meek person is allowed to move forward in bhakti, while the proud ones are sent back. So we have to develop a humble and reflective mindset. And what does the mindset say? I am a fickle-minded man. I'm an unsteady man or a woman. So I say, I am fickle. I am unsteady in my sadhana. I have not realized my spiritual nature, nor do I have any real devotion. I am unqualified in every way. Oh Krishna, please show me your mercy. Please, I just can't tolerate the state any longer. Please give me some service to you. Please accept me. Please accept me. Please accept me. So this is a quote by His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj in the Japa Reflection book that is called The Living Name. So one needs to be very, very fixed in serving Krishna and going back home. And how does one become fixed? He becomes fixed by becoming meek and humble. The desire to serve, when we pray, in our prayers, we say that, I have a desire to serve you, my Lord. That desire itself will take us back home, back to Godhead. The moment somebody sees other attachment, he gets stuck in this material world and stays back. And all their desires are to be eradicated to enjoy the material world. Whatever desires that we have in our heart, if they are attached to enjoying the material, should be eradicated. And this can happen simply by cultivation. We should look at going back home, back to God, it is our birthright. He is our eternal Father. And when He is our eternal Father, you have the birthright because He has given us this birth. It is our birthright to go back home, back to the eternal world. All the energies are His eternal energies. Just the desire of being peaceful. Many times we see this Hatha yogis and the other yogis, they say, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. But where is the Shanti? Where is the peace? There is absolutely no peace in the material world. And as Vaishnavas, we don't desire to have this kind of calmness. You see all the great devotees of the Lord, take Mother Sachi or take Mother Yashoda, they were always in anxiety. They never prayed to the Lord saying that give us peace, give us Shanti. No. They're always active to serve Krishna in ecstatic devotion. It is in the ecstatic devotion that there is higher level of peace. Devotees don't want that peace of Shanti, sit at one place, all by themselves, nothing doing. No. Devotees are always in anxiety. They all want to be in the higher level of peace. And that higher level of peace is only when we serve the Lord. And there are many times we've seen that there are the suicidal tendencies people have. That's the worst thing that can happen because they don't have peace of mind, because they don't have anxiety to serve Krishna. Those who have anxiety to serve Krishna keep suicidal thoughts, even the tendencies or the thoughts of suicidal aside, saying that, hey, look, I have a lot of service to do to the Lord. I have a lot of service to do to the devotees, to the Vaishnavas. I don't have time to think about committing suicide and ending the material body by force. So there are many things, we have seen in the material world that there's somebody who has many lovers, many people who adore him, but he's also ended all the stories in a very bad side. So that is where he starts hating people. Even when you go back to him and tell him that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they generally don't accept it. But in factual terms, Krishna is absolutely perfect. He is the Parama Purusha. He is the Siddheshwar, who does everything. He's the Yogeshwar. He's the perfect person. So if you look at Krishna being the perfect person, he's a perfect person. He's a perfect husband in Dwarika. He's a perfect person as a son. He's a perfect son to Mother Yashoda. He's a perfect friend to Arjuna or Uddhava. He's a perfect master to Dharuka. So if we look at Krishna's relationship, our relationship with Krishna and Krishna's relationship with us, he's always perfect. It is we who have left him and come here. He has not abandoned us. We have abandoned him. We said we wanted to be independent, and that's where we abandoned him. But he's a perfect person, Parama Purusha. That is why Krishna is called Parama Purusha. And we should not have any fear. We should actually give up our fear for our relationship with Krishna, because Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. We should never have fear of our relationship with him. We should have the determination to reach the lotus feet of Krishna without any fear or illusion or any doubts. And we maintain our personal relationships through spiritual master. Now, this is a very, very, very important part of our discussion. How do we really maintain our relationship? Now we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have a relationship with him. Now we can't reach him directly. So we have to have a personal relationship, but we can't reach him directly. So our personal relationship is always developed through our spiritual master, our Guru. Guru actually gives us the perfect knowledge. Sometimes people want to attain the perfect knowledge without any spiritual master. No, it is Krishna who trains the spiritual master, and we have to follow the instructions of Krishna. By which we follow the instructions of Krishna. Yeah, when we are following the instructions of spiritual master, we are directly or indirectly following the instructions of Krishna, which is what is the same. So we always talk about the Parampara system, the Guru Parampara system. Why do we call Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because whatever knowledge Krishna spoke, it is passed on in the Parampara. Likewise, whatever are the instructions are passed on to us in Parampara. And whatever the spiritual master gives us, the instruction is the instruction of Krishna. If we try directly to concoct the instructions of Krishna, it is going to be very, very difficult for us to achieve the desired success. Concoction doesn't lead anywhere into a good direction. So we should never concoct. We should just follow whatever the spiritual master says. And if we try to, concoct it, it is not called Krishna consciousness. It is called our own consciousness. So when we call it as Krishna consciousness, it is whatever is the instructions of Krishna as given by the Guru is followed by us, then it is called Krishna consciousness. Spiritual master is described as Sakshat Dharitvena. What happens is, he's a Swarupa of Krishna. Krishna's mercy expansion is spiritual master. Sakshat Haritvena. Hari's expansion he is. So it is the mercy expansion. It may not be a physical expansion, but then he's the mercy expansion of Krishna. We also have heard this Sri Guru Vaishnava Padamajaya. The lotus feet of the Guru and Vaishnavas are to be worshipped. They are full of auspiciousness. When we just surrender at the lotus feet of Guru, that's the most auspicious thing one can actually do. We've all heard of Narottam Das Thakur, the great Vaishnava. He and Srivas Acharya were both contemporaries, And Srivas Acharya was the disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami Maharaj, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Narottam Das Thakur would always honor Srivas Acharya as his elder brother. He would always, respect him with awe and reverence. He would always associate with him. And both were directly associated with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narottam Das Thakur was very close to Ramachandra. Ramachandra mange Narottama Dasa. Ramachandra Sangha mange Narottam Das. We've all heard of this nice prayer of Narottam Das Thakur. So Ramachandra was the disciple of Srivas Acharya. And he would always associate with Ramachandra. That is because he was a great devotee. And Narahari Thakur was also guiding them. He was giving instructions and they would follow, accept him as respected. See, not necessary that one has to follow only his Guru. Yeah. Ramachandra and Narottam Das Thakur had a great relationship between them. So is Srivas Acharya. And Srivas and all these wonderful Vaishnavas would take instructions from Narahari Thakur. Though none of them were disciples of Narahari Thakur. But they would respect him, they would, listen to him, they would always follow his instructions. So this is another quality of a Vaishnava. he follows all the other Vaishnavas, all the other senior Vaishnavas. That is why in ISKCON we see we have direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada. We also have the associates of Srila Prabhupada. We also have the grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And we have multi-guru system. And there are no rigid rules. There's always a mutual respect for everybody. We see all the gurus, respecting each other, be it His Holiness Jayaptak Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. They have so much of respect for each other. And recently we saw one of the videos where His Holiness Jayaptak Swami Guru Maharaj is having conversation with His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj. And such a loving exchange that they have between them. And that is because they have mutual respect for each other. It is not that I have more disciples, I have this zone, I have that zone. No, it is not on those grounds. It is the mutual respect that they have for each other and the respect that they have for their spiritual father, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So with the mutual respect that they have, on the other side, nothing to defame anybody else, but then this was also, which I heard in one of the lectures, saying that the other Gaudiya Maths are very, very strict. They follow this very strictly, saying that, the day of your initiation, you're 2 days senior to me, you're 4 days junior to me, as far as your initiation is concerned. Yes, it is very nice to give, respect to a senior devotee, to a person who has been following the Krishna consciousness for a long time or has been practicing Krishna consciousness and preaching. It is very nice. It is a mutual respect which is there. But then following this very strict adherence leads to, a lot of disharmony quite a few times. It should be a respect by way of service and not by seniority. Just because I have been initiated much before anybody else, I should get the power. No, that should not be the way. Yes, these sannyasis have to be given the highest respect because, they've dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Then the next one comes in the parampara or in the order of seniority, the devotees who are brahmacharis and who are full-time devotees who've dedicated their life again. Then comes the grahastas and likewise. But the respect in the way of service is the most important part of it. So we should respect anybody and everybody who is actually rendering service to Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara. Directly or indirectly, we have so many devotees who go out for Sankirtan. They go out for book distribution, which was very, very close to Srila Prabhupada's heart. He said, whenever you have an opportunity, please distribute my books. Likewise, and that was the instructions of his Guru Maharaj. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, during one of the meetings with Srila Prabhupada, he said, whenever you have some money, please print the books. And Srila Prabhupada took it very, very close to his heart. And whenever he would find an opportunity, he would print books. So he also told his disciples saying that, please go out and distribute books. Please go out and, spread the holy name by way of distributing the books. So we have so many devotees who are going out and who are going out on Sankirtan, who are distributing so many books, who are doing so much of seva. That doesn't mean those who go out get the highest respect. No, we have other devotees who are serving the Lord. They're serving in the kitchen, they're serving in the deity area, they're serving on the counters, they are cleaning the temple. So everybody who is serving the Lord by way of service should be respected and not the way, not the artificial mood that we really look at. The mood of preaching, the mood of book distribution should also be seen. Srila Prabhupada said all the devotees should learn to love and respect all the Vaishnavas. Yeah, that was an instruction by Srila Prabhupada. And I remember in one of the lectures, His Holiness Jayaptak Swami Guru Maharaj also mentioned, this was in sometime in 1981 when he was giving a lecture in US. He said, it is one of our goals, Guru Maharaj was talking about this, saying that it was one of our goals to show appreciation to all the Vaishnavas. And that is where they had also decided to start off the award ceremony at Sriram Mayapur, the annual event where they would glorify the services of the devotees or those devotees, they would glorify those devotees who've excelled in their services. It could be even the services in Gurukul, It could be services as a Sankirtan leader. It could be a appreciation for services as preacher. So the format of this appreciation ceremony or award ceremony would be, they would go on praising the services of, or glorify the services of these devotees without mentioning the name. And at the end, they name the devotee and award him. And this is an award which actually helps us realize that, that the service to the Vaishnavas or appreciation of the Vaishnavas is the most important part of it. And this will help us focus in our Krishna consciousness also. And it will also help us to decide that we should also excel in our services, whatever we do. It could be, and Guru Maharaj also mentioned about this, saying that, this would be a Sankirtan award, there would be an award for the public affairs, there would be an award for BBT, there would be an award for farming, there could be Sanskrit titles which could be given to those devotees who are going ahead with further, studies like Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Saurabhauma. So these are all things which have been already initiated at Sri Dham Mayapur. Srila Prabhupada did not want his devotees to be felt dissatisfied. So, not that if you do not become a temple president, you are not going to go back to Godhead. You are going to go back to Godhead by your service to the Lord, by your service to the temple, by your service to the devotees, by your service to the Vaishnavas, by glorifying them or even serving them or showing our appreciation to that. So, the basic idea of serving Guru and Vaishnava and taking association is the most important part in the conditional stage of life. So when the four Kumaras met Prithu Maharaj asked them questions. And Kumaras, the greatest of the devotees, they say, you've given us an opportunity, that you asked us question and you gave us the opportunity to glorify the Lord and get pure bhakti. Because just by glorifying the Lord, you get pure bhakti. Just by associating with the great devotees of the Lord, you get pure bhakti. And devotees are also very eager to serve or hear from Vaishnavas. So we should read the scriptures, we should read the songs of the previous acharyas and understand. We should also take the examples of the 6 Goswamis, how they cooperated with each other. And they single-handedly or single-mindedly followed only the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to go out and preach the holy name of the Lord. So ISKCON basically was created for us to come together and appreciate each other's service. There is the association of the Vaishnavas through their service, through Srimad Bhagavatam, through deity worship. And by doing all this, the time passes very, very nicely and very, very quickly. There is absolutely no dull moment. Every time is a transcendental time for us. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, the 6th shloka says, Avai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahi ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, what is the dharma? Dharma of supreme occupation of all humanity is by which men can attain the loving devotional service of the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated, uninterrupted, to completely satisfy the self. So it is very important. It should be ahaituki, apratihata. It should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. And when unmotivated and uninterrupted services are there, devotional service, then you can satisfy yourself. And when you can satisfy yourself, when the Lord is happy with you, when you are having the association of the devotees. Srila Prabhupada actually showed a service to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj very clearly. All the instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada followed. He said, if you get an opportunity, please print my books and distribute. So Srila Prabhupada printed. He started the big Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, BBT, popularly known as. And today, hundreds and thousands of books are being distributed across the world in so many languages. Similarly, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj told Srila Prabhupada during his first meeting, saying that you should preach to the English-speaking men. So Srila Prabhupada at a very advanced age went to the Western world just to execute the orders of his Guru Maharaj. And the success was all his. Srila Prabhupada could travel in 12 short years, 14 times all over the world. He circumambulated the whole world. By what? Just by following instructions and showing intensity in the orders of his Guru Maharaj. And if we follow the intensity, if we follow the intensity and the service Srila Prabhupada did towards his Guru Maharaj, we are all assured of success. And Srila Prabhupada is a Sampradaya Acharya. He's not just an Acharya, he is a Sampradaya Acharya. So within the Sampradaya, he created another Sampradaya and he is the Acharya of that. And he has led us by his example. So let's follow that very quickly. Let me just recap as to what we discussed today. We started our conversation today by talking about the living entities is with pure knowledge and bliss. That's our nature. And the highest platform is not taken if one does not follow the bhakti. One cannot attain the highest platform unless one performs bhakti yoga. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu combined the essence of all the four sampradayas, that is the Shiva Sampradaya, Lakshmi Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, and Brahma Sampradaya. He took two very important points from all of them and put them together. And we are called the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Though we are predominantly called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the essence of all the four sampradayas. And we are a bona fide movement. And then we also discussed about the Sayuja Mukti. Nobody wants the Sayuja Mukti. We do not want to be merged with the Brahma Jyoti or merging with the Lord, which is not what we are looking at. And we also understood that, while we're going back home, we pass through so many other lokas, but the moment that we get attracted, we get pulled into it. So we should not get attracted. Our focus has to be single-mindedly. Prithu Maharaj, while he was traveling, the example was very nicely given here in the shloka, is that while he was traveling from the material world to the spiritual world, he passed all the other lokas, Indra Loka, Japa Loka, Tapa Loka, all those lokas that he passed, but then that is all places of wonderful enjoyment of the material senses. He did not look here and there. He focused only on the lotus feet of the Lord. And then we also talked about Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. So repeated birth and death does not happen once somebody attains the bhakti, the highest platform. And once somebody goes back to Godhead, he does not have birth again. And simply by cultivation of bhakti, we can go back to Godhead. And then we also spoke about the relationship that we have with Krishna. And we should never have the fear in our relationship with Krishna, because Krishna is Satchit Ananda. And the determination to reach the lotus feet of the Lord should be without any fear, illusion, or doubt. And spiritual masters, what happens to our connection with Krishna? Krishna reaches out to us through a spiritual master. He gives his instructions to spiritual master through whom we can get it, because we cannot reach Krishna directly, and we should never try to concoct our relationship with Krishna. So we have to take instructions from a spiritual master and follow the instructions. So when we follow the instructions of spiritual master, it is the instructions of Krishna which we are following. And spiritual master is also described as Shakshat Dharitvena. That is, he's the Krishna's mercy expansion. And we also spoke about the great Vaishnavas like Narottam Das Thakur, Srivasacharya. We also spoke about Ramachandra and then how they were taking instructions from Narahari Thakur. And not necessary that one should only follow, the lineage, but yes, you can even take instructions from our contemporaries, our god brothers, our god sisters, like that. And ISKCON is a different structure altogether, and it's a very nice, robust structure which was created where we have the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada, we have, we have the associates of Srila Prabhupada, we have our gurus, we have multi-guru system where, a lot of gurus are there and we all come together and respect them as Vaishnavas. And Srila Prabhupada also made this statement, all the devotees should learn to love and respect all the Vaishnavas. That's the most important part of it. And then we also spoke about the four Kumaras meeting Prithu Maharaj, and when Prithu Maharaj was asking them questions, they said that you've given us a chance to glorify the Lord and get pure bhakti. That is how it works. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we also spoke about the supreme occupational duty, that is dharma, is that the dharma is for somebody to attain loving devotional service of the Lord. And we can do this by following the parampara. And that's the best way to forward on to it. So we will end our conversation today on this. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have any comments, I'm happy to accept them. And if there are no questions or if there are no comments, we will end our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam here. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It was wonderful to have all of you here and discuss about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
In the end, the summary was really excellent way of closing it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
No, in the end, you closed it with the summary, recollecting what all the important points you said. That was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Seeking your blessings.